Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Lawrence Watkins. I am the President and Chief Operating Officer of Voice Watkins Enterprises in the Black Business School. Today, I'm here with a very, very special guest. We're here with Rebecca Monique. She is what we call the tax bae, right? Because when it comes to this crypto stuff and other things too, she's the woman that you want to talk to make sure that the SEC and the IRS and all these other letters don't come knocking at your door come April 15th and beyond. But beyond that, beyond just what she's done in the tax space, she has a lot of life experience too that we want to get into. So we're going to talk, to Rebecca about, what's happened in her life, her story, and how it's led her to this point of becoming this, wonderful accountant, especially in this new and developing field. So, Rebecca, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. And before we get started, because I know this was a question before, so my name is Rebecca Samuels. I go by Rebecca Monique on Facebook, just because my personal private profile was Rebecca Monique. I do have a business profile, which is Rebecca Samuels, but I just wanted to clarify because someone asked me, why do you have so many different names? And I was like, no, that's not it.
She's just private. She ain't trying to hide from you nothing like that. She's just a little private in her personal life. So it is Rebecca Samuels, and
yes.
If you want to hire her as an accountant, you need to go to Rebecca Samuels.
Yes.
And not Rebecca Monique. But if you slide over to Rebecca Monique, I'm sure she'll
respond.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll respond regardless. So Rebecca, we were just talking a little bit offline and just talking about your background and your story. And it's such an amazing story and full of many twists and turns. Let's talk about when you were like a teenager. Let's start there. I think that's a great place to start. How was life as a teenager? Let's talk about that.
Oh, okay. So, most people that know me know I am a former teen mom, I guess you want to call it. I had my daughter at 14 years old, and 14, yeah.
Wow.
So what happened there, again, it's, there's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of other things that I want to go into, but it's a reason why I'm so passionate about topics such as child molestation, because most people aren't aware that when children get molested or sexually abused at a young age, they end up being sexually promiscuous at a very early age. Hence what happened with me. So, I had my daughter at 14, and I was that 15-year-old that was sneaking my daughter in school because I was trying to finish high school, and, I didn't have a babysitter. I didn't really have a lot of family support regarding me having my daughter. So it was just one of these things where I was doing everything I could to stay in school, get an education, and, also take care of my child. And I was very fortunate that I went to a high school that had daycare, but my daughter was too young at the time to sign on. So until she hit that magical age, I think it was 3 months, I had to, occasionally sneak my daughter in school. I had to ask teachers for permission. Hey, can my daughter come to class with me today? Because I don't have a babysitter. And for the most part, my teachers were very supportive. Give a shout out to Hartford Public High School. The teachers there were very supportive of me trying to continue on with my education. The security guards on the other side, due to the fact that it was like a legal issue, if there was, a fire in the school and I couldn't get out with my daughter in time, it was a hazard, it could have been legal issues. So the security guards started looking for me, and when they catch me, they'd say, nope, you got to leave, and you can't stay here with the baby. But fortunately, we made it through. And
let's stop there, though.
Sure.
So where did you grow up?
I'm sorry?
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. So I went to Hartford Public High. I believe it or not, I graduated top 10% of my class. I graduated in the Honor Society. I graduated with a Beat the Odds award, but I was that teenager that had a baby at 14.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more then. Like, when you found out that you were pregnant, like, what was your reaction?
It was kind of expected. It was kind of shocking that it happened, but it was also kind of expected because I was with this boy that I thought I loved and I wanted to be with. And, you know, I thought me and my baby were going to move in with him, and that didn't happen. But it was just like, you know, this is why I'm passionate about certain topics, such as fathers being involved in their children's lives, fathers being involved in their daughters' lives, because a lot of the reason why I became pregnant was, you know, I was looking for the love I never found. And, you know, at 14, I really didn't understand what was going on, but I do know that I had a strong resiliency about myself to be an advocate and to force through with school. I wasn't going to become a dropout. And even though, like, when I say I had no family support, I mean it. My water broke when I was 36 weeks pregnant, and I had to find a ride to the hospital. You know what I mean? I had no family support. Like, when I'm saying that, I truly mean it. So, you know, my high school threw me a baby shower to help provide baby things. I was 8 months pregnant working at a library. I was under the summer scholar program because my grades were so high that I qualified for this program. But here I am, 7-8 months pregnant, walking in saying, "Hi, can I get a job? I need to make money for myself and my daughter." So it was, at the time, I didn't think about how challenging it was, especially at 14, but man, it was like, you know, I was really doing some stuff here in the name of trying to put all this together and make something out of my situation due to the fact that I really didn't have help.
So where did that drive come from? Right. So like, it seemed like you were in two different worlds, right? So one world, you were this top A, student, whatever, making moves in your life. You came from a place with no family support, that type of thing. And then the other side, you were looking for like this love, this attention. Like, how do those two things really just mesh together? Like where did those two dichotomies come from?
I was told this a lot. I have a mentor who's essentially become a mother figure to me because I ended up getting emancipated from my parents and I moved out on my own. And I lived in homeless shelters for a couple of months with my daughter. I remember walking in, a foot of snow trying to get to work because I have to make money. And I'm talking about I'm 16. I'm not even 18 yet. And I'm walking.
And this ain't no old person's tale talking about they walk 3 miles, just 6 miles to school every day and 10 feet of snow. This is true, right? So you had to walk in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes. Snow. To get to work because I don't have a car. I'm 16 years old. I don't have a license and I need to get to work. I can't call out. I need the money. And as much support as the quote unquote government would have given me, such as food stamps and everything else like that, believe it or not, at 16, I still made too much money for them to say, hey, here's some cash. Let me help you out. Because I think you had making less than $525 a month for the government to help you. So I really don't know where the drive came from. Even now, I'm almost 34 and I don't know where that drive came from, but I'm happy it was there because I was determined not to be an additional statistic. So if that meant walking in a foot of snow to get to work just so I had enough money to pay my bills, and so be it. If that meant that I had to sneak my daughter into high school just so I could go to my classes so I didn't have to drop out, so be it. So I don't know where it came from, but I'm happy it's there. And that's kind of what propelled me to where I currently am now.
Right. And let's talk about that then, right? So you finished high school, top 10% in your class. You have this drive. You have this motivation. What did you do next?
A couple of things. I went to community college. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I figured I need to get a college education because that's what everyone tells you need to do. So I went to community college for a bit. And then right around 2005, Katrina hit. So at the time I was working at a bank and I was kind of hyperventilating because I noticed the gas prices going up. And again, I'm a single mother and I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm making $13, $14 an hour. It's like, oh my God, gas prices are rising. What am I going to do? And I, at the time, decided to go into the military. So about 6 months after that, I shipped off to basic training and my best friend my best friend's mother ended up taking my daughter temporarily so that I could go away to training. And it was one of the best decisions of my life. I tell people this all the time.
Why was it such a good decision?
Well, it set up to where I am now, and I'll talk about that. But pretty much, you know, going to the Army, number one, it was a huge challenge because I didn't think I could do it, right? Going to basic training and, you know, getting up really early, doing all this running and everything else like that. And I'll tell you this, I sucked at physical fitness. I hate running, but my drill sergeants were very impressed with me. And they told me at the end, they were like, you know, Samuels may not be able to help you running, but damn sure that girl could shoot. And I was a shooter, you know, and so they gave me the M40 Bravo. So I held some big guns. I shot some big shit. And, you know, it was awesome. Basic training is one of my most favorite memories, being an Army vet. But
you don't hear that very often.
I'm sorry?
You don't hear that very often.
Oh, when you're in it, oh no. But it was like a prison version of summer camp. That's kind of what I say to people a lot. It was like you know, don't get me wrong, it was challenging, but it was definitely like once you get through the mental toughness part of it and you just really understand what they're trying to show you, my drill sergeants were amazing. I had one of the best drill sergeants. That's not even me saying that. Like, he was certified the best, Drill Sergeant Howard. And our company went far. We had some good people on there. I'm still in touch with a couple of them. Some of them are on my Facebook. Some of them I lost touch with. Some of them have died since basic training. But yeah. So getting back to that, I was in the reserves. So after the whole training, I ended up coming home and started playing mommy again. Now I'm mommy, full-time student, working, and soldier, and wearing all of these millions of different hats. I was fortunate, or I can't say fortunate because I don't think it's fortunate, but I have not been deployed, which is probably one of my biggest regrets with the military, because when you are a veteran, at least in my opinion, it's like you want to say, yeah, I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, but due to the fact that I was a single mother and everything else, and I had my daughter, you know, it didn't work out. I got some orders for Iraq, but they had to be revoked. So I never got the chance to go over and experience. So I salute to everyone that's in the military, former military, presently overseas serving. Like my hats is off to every single one of you guys. But that's probably one of my biggest regrets. And I've always said to myself, I wonder if I could get back in now just so I could go and deploy for a bit, just to get that experience, to get that, you know.
People need you in the crypto space right now.
I'm sorry. Oh well, yeah, that's gonna be a huge that's gonna be a conflict. So definitely can't do that. But trust me, there are times where I sit up here and I think, man, could I get back in? But yeah. So since after I came back from training and I was in the Army for a bit, I also finished up my college degree, and I actually received a criminology degree in 2009. I was always wanting to be a lawyer, right? So I was like, okay, let me go to law school. It didn't end up happening, but that was the reason why I got the criminology degree. And right around the time I got my criminology degree, the economy started tanking. The recession happened.
2009, yeah.
2009.
You're not going to get a job as a lawyer in 2009. I tell you that.
Well, you know, and it's funny because at the time I was working for a government contractor, and with all the jobs tanking, they were telling us they weren't sure if our contract was going to get renewed. And that's why I'm saying the military was a good decision for me, because I ended up getting a secret clearance from the government and didn't know that I can now use that as a contractor. So it just worked out. But the economy started tanking. Then they were telling us, you know, we're not sure what's going to happen with you guys. So I was like, maybe I need to look for another job. And trying to find a job, I remember, you know, applying to Career Builder, and they told me I was one of 600 applicants. And I'm over here like, okay, what do I do? You know, my criminology degree was not getting me through any doors. So I sat up here and I said, okay, what can I do that people need and I could use? And that's how we ended up in the accounting arena. Now, naturally, I've always been good with numbers. I was that, again, because of the fact that I was struggling as a single teen mom and all this other stuff, I always had like budgets and spreadsheets and, you know, how much money are we coming in, projections. Like I've always done that. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try accounting because I do it anyway. So let's see where that goes. And I ended up going back to school for undergrad. You know, I already had a bachelor's degree. I could have went and got a master's accounting without going back to undergrad, but I decided, let me just go back to undergrad, get the accounting, and then move on to the master's. And that's what I did.
Before that, like, so you made that decision. How did you feel making that decision? Like, you already have one degree, now you have to go back to school and get another degree. Was that like something that gave you pause? It
was annoying, but I really did it again more for the, hopefully I'm going to, you know, get a job out of this. That's really what I was, you know, because thinking about being an entrepreneur, that was way past me at that point. Like I wasn't even on the entrepreneurial side or thought that, you know, I'm thinking I need to get a college degree so that somebody will hire me. So I was annoyed about it, but I was like, okay, I only got to do 2 years of this, and it's accounting, a straight accounting, because I've already done all the prerequisites. So why not? You know, so I did that. And fortunately at the time, the government contractor ended up negotiating with the government, and instead of losing our jobs, they cut our hours. They cut our hours down from 40 to 30. So it gave me a little bit more time to go to school, but now I have less revenue. And again, still single mom of my daughter and all this other stuff. So it was, again, it's
so
put all these pieces together, less money, have to now go to school to try to make more money, you know.
So you're about 25 years old at this time, right?
Around that time, I was about 25 years old, and
11-year-old. So you said 11-year-old daughter.
Yeah, she was more or less 11-year-old, and at the time, you know, we'll glaze over it, but pretty much I was involved with a man that eventually became my husband, and we had my second child. So I have a 7-year-old now, but back then I was pregnant with my son. So after I finished having my son, I went back to school. So I'm working, go to school full time. So it's again, a million hats.
Let's just stop it right there. How did you find time to do all this stuff? Like, and you hear about this, you know, women come home and have to work this, you know, work the second shift, right? So, you know, once you leave work, you have to come home and take care of your family and that type of thing. But for you, it seems like you were working 3 different shifts. You know, you were a mother, you were a student, and then you also had this job taking up 30 hours of your week. How did you manage to juggle all those different things at the exact same time?
You know, I think this is a challenge for a lot of women, because especially women that work outside of the home, because we're, you know, we have to go to work. And then when we come home, if we're in school, we have to do school, and we have to do schoolwork. And then we have to make sure the kids are taken care of. And then we have to make sure that the laundry's done and the cleaning's done and the food is cooked and this and that. And, you know, when you're asking me, I really don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it was just this is what happens now. This is what happens now. This is what happens now. Now you go to sleep. Now you get up. This is what happens now. This is what happens now. So it's just, I guess that's the life of a woman to have to do all of these things. And, you know, and that's why, again, I'm passionate about certain topics now that I'm older and I'm wiser. You know, I really firmly believe that if you're in a relationship with someone, they should help with all of these things that we need to do, because a woman turns into a, you know, a slave in a sense, where she has to do all this stuff, and then she has to go to bed at night and then get up in the morning and do all this stuff again. So I believe in partners that are very supportive, partners that also help with the load. I think that's the best way to have a good relationship. And that's something that now that I'm older, when I talk to men that I think I want to date, I'm sizing them up. Like, is this guy going to make my life any easier? Because I already have all this stuff to do now. If I have to do all this stuff and take care of him as well, I don't need a third child. I need a partner. But that's where we are with it, you know?
So were you stressed? Would you consider yourself stressed at this time? Definitely stressed. And, you know, I'm sure at times women tend to yell or whatever when we're stressed. So I'm sure that it didn't help my then relationship at the time. And, you know, children,
they're always getting into something. I'm sure that didn't help at the time. But it's something that I think I had to go through. And now that I know, I can make better decisions for the future, but definitely was stressed. And I hear other women now to this day talk about how stressed they are because they have to do all these things, work, go to school, take care of the kids, clean, laundry, take out garbage. Something goes down. Now she got to figure out how she's going to come up with the money to fix a car or fix something that broke in the house. Like, it's stressful. It really is.
Yeah. I can only imagine, with the type of stress that you were going through at that time, but somehow you continued to work through it. And, so let's get back to 2009.
Yes.
We're at the bottom of the recession, or what we think is the bottom, but, we're in this recession. You're doing these three different things, going to school, working, and being a mother. What happens next?
So I did that for the next 2 years. And at the time, my then partner, we were engaged, so we were going to get married, and that relationship didn't end up working out. But through the years after I finished school, since our relationship didn't work out, I decided I needed a change. Mentally, I wasn't in the right place. I was questioning a lot about myself. Like, it's like every time I do something well, something behind just comes and messes up. And it's like, when am I going to get that happy, that happy ending, that fairy tale ending? So I decided that I need to change. And I made the decision in 2014 to relocate from New Britain at the time, New Britain, Connecticut, to Washington, D.C. Part of the reason why I chose to come here is because I was like, well, I do have an active clearance from the government. Maybe I could find a contracting job. Maybe it'll be easier to find a job. And I'm finishing up my accounting degree. And at the time when I made that move, I was doing my master's in accounting. So I was like, maybe this will work out. I moved down to DC and I am not used to the traffic. So Connecticut has traffic, right? DC is like a mini New York. That's really kind of how I see it as. So there's traffic here. Like, I found a non-for-profit job and I lived 10 miles away from my job. And it took me an hour every single morning, whether it was by car, whether it was by bus, whether it was by the metro, to get to work every single day. And I'm like, again, now I'm tired. Like, it was a good move, but I wasn't used to the traffic and I didn't understand. And also DC is really expensive. Like, just to live in DC, you're looking at least $1,800 for rent. And, a lot more if you want something like 2 bedrooms and stuff like that. So I had to move outside of DC, and I'm still close enough where I could get to DC very easily, but it's just still expensive just because of the general area. And, so for about a year, I was doing the whole getting up at 5:45, out the house by 6:45. My son's dropped off at the daycare by 7. I'm on a metro or somewhere by around the same time, because actually the daycare was right across the street from my house. So I just dropped him off and then walked to the bus stop. Got on the bus, did the hour commute into DC, and worked for 8 hours. Then got back on the bus, did the hour commute going home. Picked up my son. So now my son's in daycare from 7 a.m. to almost, 6 p.m. every day. He's miserable. I'm miserable because I'm getting sick a lot due to the fact of being on the bus. They have all these air conditionings and I wasn't used to that. So I was like, every couple of months, I was getting really, really sick. And I couldn't tolerate it anymore. In addition to the fact that I wasn't really making enough money with the not-for-profit. It was an amazing position, but I wasn't making enough money. It was too challenging. It was too much time being taken off of during the day. So it's just like, I got to do something else. And I was very fortunate. Government contractor found me. They found my resume. I'm really not sure how, but they found my resume, contacted me, and they offered me a job paying $10,000 more. And I said, great. Where is it? At the Pentagon. At the Pentagon. Awesome. Are they going to let me in the Pentagon? So I worked at the Pentagon for a couple of months, and it was amazing. The people that worked there, the projects I was on, again, all of it to do with accounting. So, boring stuff, I guess, to other people. But for the simple fact that I could walk around the Pentagon and just look at the amazing pictures, and they have cameras everywhere, so they're watching everyone. But I'm just like walking around and I'm like, wow, this place is amazing. Like it's such an amazing place, especially floor 6. That's the Army floor, and it's just, you just see all these. Okay, anyway, but it was amazing. It was so amazing, and the work I did, yeah, it was great.
Was it easier to commute to the Pentagon, or was it?
No, it was kind of a little bit easier because I had to take my car at this point, so I wasn't depending on the metro, so I could actually drive in. But we're still talking about 45 minutes to an hour, and now parking issues, because again, DC is just like New York, so you can't find somewhere to park. I was fortunate to find somebody to hook me up with a monthly pass for $125. But it's like, wow, yeah. But I only ended up doing that for 6 months, and then I ended up getting called up by the federal government to do some auditing.
Let's take a stop. Yeah, sure. Let's stop there for a second. Your story, your last 2 stories about the Pentagon and where you worked with a nonprofit before in DC, reminds me something that our Dean of Entrepreneurship within the Black Business School, Julian Gordon, was talking about this weekend. He was talking about this concept of, we take these jobs. So we take these jobs for things like healthcare when it's really the job that's making us sick, right? So the job is making you sick and making you miserable because you're spending so much time away from your son, and then just traveling there and all the germs that it takes to get from point A to point B. It was making you sick every few months or every couple of months, and we work these jobs so we can have things like healthcare, but it's really the job that's making us sick. And that's just something that came to my mind when you were telling the story.
And that's again another topic I'm very passionate about. I now, if I ever work again, I want something that has a work-life balance, because you're absolutely right. That's really what it was. I mean, if you think about it, the amount of time it just takes just to get to work, that was 2 hours each and every single day that I was just spent getting to work. Not to mention the 8 or 9 hours that I have to work. And then by the time I get home, I have to feed my son. He has to make sure that he's fine. And it's like, you don't have any time for anything else. Like, how do you find the time to exercise if after you've already spent about 11 hours of your day just trying to get to and work? You know what I mean? So I was getting sick a lot, and I'm not a sickly person. Like, I have a very strong immune system. So when I get sick, it takes me out. And I noticed that there was really something going on there. And like I said, a combination of factors, but that was one of the things where I was like, this is a great job, but I can't take the commute. I'm not making enough. So I'm going to have to get another job just to supplement my income. I can't do that.
To live in your expensive city of the DC metropolitan area, right? So.
Yeah. I was only making $45,000 a year, and that's not really, like, most of the people that I went to work with lived with roommates because they can't afford to pay for rent and pay for student loans and pay for everything themselves. So, and here I am, I'm a single mother. I've lived pretty much on my own most of my life. I really never had a roommate. So I didn't want to move myself and my son in just to, in a roommate situation, just to be able to make it and survive. But, if I was a single woman, I would have definitely gone the whole roommate route because it's just not enough money. But so my solution to that was, if I'm qualified, find a better job that's paying me more, which ended up happening. And like I said,
so you get called up.
Yeah, I got called up by the federal government, and it was awesome because that was a job that I really wanted. I wanted to work for the government as a civilian, and I did. I did auditing for about 1.5 years. It was great. It was a great experience. I met some really great people that I'm still in contact with to this day. The reason why I left that job, I ended up, a government contractor called me up and they said, hey, CPAs, especially ones with clearances, are high in demand in the DC area. They need them. So whenever they find a CPA that has a clearance, it's like, hey, we need you to work on a project. And most of the big four, PwC and all that, they usually get those CPAs first. And then, it trickles down to the lower size firms and everything else. So someone called me up and said, hey, are you looking for a job? We have a position. And at the time, again, I was just trying to figure out exactly what I was doing, where I was going. I could have stayed with the federal government, retired with them. I passed my probationary period. Everything was cool. And they really enjoyed me there. I got an award for that job as well. But I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. So when the opportunity came through, I tried to do some negotiation. It was, hey, we have an audit. You get to work from home. And I said, okay, I really like that, just due to the fact that when you audit, sometimes you have to go places to do the audit. And I really can't with my son. It's going to be very challenging while he's in school. He's in elementary school. So I was like, if I could find something where I could work from home, that's what I want. And ended up getting that position. And I was supposed to be hired as a W-2. I was supposed to be hired as an employee, but I didn't like the salary they were giving me. So we negotiated it and they said, well, hey, we can't give you the salary you want as an employee, but we could probably pay you about $50 an hour full time if you become an independent contractor. And that's what began my whole entrepreneurial, thought. So at the time I was very scared about it because I was like, all right, so guys are going to give me all this money and then what? Well, you got to pay your own taxes. You got to pay your own health care. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I said, all right, well, let me try it. So I ended up taking the position, and this is the first time I'm, making over $10,000 a month auditing. Now, mind you, this is before taxes, but I'm making $10,000 a month, and I'm over here like, this is nice. And I get to okay, all right. So it was good. I was making some great money. And when that project ended, a couple of people contacted me about other projects, and I wanted the same sort of, the same sort of
deal.
Arrangement.
Arrangement.
Like the 1099 miscellaneous. I wanted the same sort of arrangement because I got a hang of it. It was awesome. I liked being in control of my schedule. I liked, after the project was over, if I want to take a month off, I can take a month off of work. Like this, I want to live. Life is so precious. At some point in time, we're all going to die. And I don't know when my time to go is. And I just don't want to spend my whole entire life working, that I didn't even get to enjoy anything or spend time with my family. I wanted that freedom. I really did. I wanted that freedom. So fast forward to then I decided to make my own company, Pythagoras. And that's when I had the interview with your brother, Dr. Boyce Watkins, which I really appreciated. And from there, things have considerably grown. It's a hustle, I'll tell you that much, because I'm still within the government contracting arena. Actually, after tax season, I'm probably going to go back and do a small audit just to beef up some of my savings. Because obviously, when you're an entrepreneur, right, you got to keep the money coming in, otherwise who's going to pay you, right? Yeah. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of auditing until I get some of hopefully some crypto projects take off. So hopefully I get, I'm looking on, well, I don't know how it's going now because of the whole SEC thing, but I was trying to see if I could get on a couple of ICO projects to help with advising, to gain some experience in that arena. And I've been doing a whole lot of crypto calculations for people that need to file their taxes. So I anticipate that to grow next year now that the whole Section 1031 is off the table. No one can take that as an option. So I expect a lot more people will be filing crypto taxes next year.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Yeah. So that's how I came to know you. Was in the crypto space, and you're part of the Digital Underground. You're also one of our ambassadors. How did you start to get involved with cryptocurrency?
So when I launched Pythagoras, July 28th, 2017, I was trying to figure out exactly what to do to grow my clientele, because at the end of the day, I could have went back and did more government contracting and made enough money, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I was like, okay, I offer accounting, I offer taxes, I offer all things accounting that I'm able to do. I'm able to practice as a CPA. So what I did was I went into a lot of entrepreneurial groups and I started getting ideas from folks on how to market myself, how to gain clients. And one thing that someone kept saying over and over again was develop a niche. So I was like, okay, what can I do as a CPA that could be my niche? And around the same time, I think it was about August, I ended up coming across an IRS notice in Forbes, and they were saying how only 800 people filed their crypto taxes, and they know there's a lot more people. So I was like, and this is August, mind you. So I'm over here like, okay, well, maybe I could do something in the cryptocurrency. I'm not too familiar with it, but let me jump on and let me get aboard. So what I started doing from that point, I started going to meetups in my area to understand what cryptocurrency was and, pass out business cards, but really to understand what cryptocurrency was. And then I realized how big the blockchain is going to be and how it's going to affect our lives. And I'm very hesitant on saying things like that because I hate being proven wrong. But when I really understood what was going on here, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be really big. And it was around October-ish, and I started investing myself because I was like, okay, number one, if I'm gonna be doing crypto taxes, I need to know what I'm doing, right? So I started investing myself and trying to figure out how these calculations were gonna go down because I saw this as a mathematical headache, honestly. It's like a bank account, but you don't have like software doing everything for you. So you have to go back to the pen and paper days of writing this down, adding numbers up. And
that's a business idea, Rebecca. Yeah.
So I invested myself, and then I want to say about November, in my personal opinion. Now, other people may think differently, but I think around November is when everything really blew up with crypto.
It really did.
Everyone jumped in, and then all of a sudden it was like, where are all these people coming from? Because I'm jumping in August. So I'm used to the small meetups. People really don't know what's going on and everything else like that. But around November, a lot of people jumped in. And that's when I said, okay, well, this is great. Maybe I can now make clients this way. Maybe I can introduce myself to people as a crypto specialist. I'll tell you this though, before November happened, when I used to go to the meetups, there would be a lot of people, they'd be like, I don't need no accountant, crypto ain't for the government. And it was a very sobering experience because this is something that I had to learn myself, right? The whole point of cryptocurrency was not for government involvement. And so the hardcore people that have been involved for a very long time, that's what they live and die by. Now you're seeing this contrast with now the new people that are jumping in because they want to make money. And because of the simple fact that there's a lot of people that's making a lot of money, and I have a lot of them as my current clients, you're seeing that contrast. And see, when there's money being made, at least I know for the US, our government is going to get involved. Now, when it really comes down to it.
Anywhere in the world too, just let you know. Yeah.
Right. So this is something it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this plays out, because at the end of the day, I think the cryptocurrency and blockchain is bigger than our government. And I'm kind of hesitant about saying that, but I think that's what it is. But I don't think our government is going to roll over so easily and just say, hey, these people are using crypto, we can't do anything about it. They're really going to try to enforce our laws, especially at this point, because people are using it more as an investment tool. When the money gets converted back to fiat, it's now within our government's control. So it's like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all ends up playing out. But I do believe in blockchain. I do believe in cryptocurrency. And I don't know, people want cryptocurrency to be the new currency. They want it to be widely accepted and as adopted as currency. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think that's going to be possible due to the fact of, again, whoever controls the money controls the people. And as of right now, I don't see the government giving up control just because a whole bunch of us, a whole bunch of people, not even us, just a whole bunch of people from all over the world is partaking in it. So I don't think the government's going to try to fight. Well, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm being honest with you, because if they start hammering things down, then so be it, right? But I do think the government is aware that if they push too hard on the topic, it's going to turn a lot of people off. And I say this all the time. If you want somebody to comply with you, make it easy for them to comply. If you want someone to pay their taxes, make it easy for them to pay their taxes. So if the government accepts cryptocurrency to pay your taxes, a lot more people will be willing to pay their taxes because they don't have to convert into fiat. They can just say, hey, what's your address? I'll send it to you. Leave me alone. Versus, oh, now I got to cash out $50,000. Now this is a new taxable event for next year. And yeah, so that part is really interesting as I'm doing a lot more crypto calculations and talking with clients from all over the world, really, who have cryptocurrency and are U.S. citizens, so they have to pay their U.S. taxes. And it's all very interesting to me.
Yeah, it really is an interesting space right now. And the space is so new.
Yeah.
So new still that a lot of things just haven't really been determined. To your point in regards to, like, will crypto ever become a currency versus becoming some type of investment asset that people hold on to? I think it's to be determined on that front, right? Because, if you get past just the structures of society, you realize that most things that make society run are very imaginary, right? So this concept of the United States government or China or any nationality, that's just something that a whole bunch of people have agreed upon to be the United States or to be South America or to be X, Y, and Z location. And the same can be said for currency and other things too that we hold and believe so dearly. Yeah. So I'm not sure if crypto will take over fiat currency, because fiat wasn't always fiat either, right? Because currency before was gold backed. If you had more gold, that was the currency of choice, but that's not the case anymore. So I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss the chance, the probability of crypto taking over that space.
Well, I think that the government will make their own cryptocurrency to combat it. But what I'm saying is, when people say it was Bitcoin gonna become the currency, that's the part that I'm kind of like, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I see the governments making their own currencies before I see them accepting Bitcoin as the currency. That's what I mean.
Right. Yeah, but I think, in times like this, in times of heavy change, it's very good to be flexible and opportunities and opportunities, because we don't really know what probability tree is going to.
No, it's not going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah. So let's get down to some more specifics in regards to things that people should be looking out for as they're getting into the space. So can you talk about just things that, let's just focus on the United States citizens, things that we should be aware of if we want to start investing more into cryptocurrency?
Dates you should be aware of. Well, I guess I'll approach it from the tax aspect. The first and foremost date you want to be aware of, believe it or not, is the day you start. And the reason why I say that is because I have a lot of clients that have entered crypto space. I have to do their crypto calculations, and some of them just don't know when they came in. They don't know how they don't remember how they started. And for us to piece back records together, you have to know the day you started, where you came, what exchanges you use. Like, you have to have that information. So I think sometimes people are so in a rush to get started that they actually, I'm starting on Coinbase and then I'm transferring money to Bittrex. It's just like, let me get the money. So they start jumping in and trying to invest. And then at the end of the day, when I'm asking for all the records, it's like, oh, I think I was on this site. So that's a good day. The next day you want to be aware of, December 30th.
I'm sorry. I said things, but dates are good too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sure.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, okay, so the end of the year, December 31st each year, the reason why, the way I piece back things together, I try to determine what your coins holdings were on 12/31. So if a client comes to me and they say, hey, can you do my crypto calculations? I need to file my taxes. So we'll go through the process and everything else like that. And then I'll show them a summary. I'll say, hey, this is your coin summary as of December 31st. Does this look right? So I suggest to everyone, be aware of what kind of coins you held, the number of coins, not the value, because the value goes up and down, right? But be aware of the number of coins you have. So if you have 5 Bitcoin, 10 Ethereum, 12 Litecoin, when I do a crypto calculation, or if you decide to do it yourself, you're going to want to tie that number back to what you had. That way you can ensure more or less that your crypto calculations for your taxable events are correct. That can be challenging, especially if you're trading a lot. A lot of my traders, I have some day traders in a sense where I've gone through about 3 to 4, maybe even 5,000 transactions. And that's kind of when we're trying to piece things back together, they're missing something. So if you have an overall idea of what your coin summary is at the end of the year, that's going to help. Your next thing, every year, we in the US have to file April 15th, 16th, 17th, depending on if we have Emancipation Days, holidays down here in Washington, D.C. So keep in mind, you need to file your taxes by that date. If you don't, you will accrue a failure to file penalty, which is up to 25%. It's pretty expensive. They charge it on a monthly thing up to 25%. So I always tell people, regardless if you have the money to pay or not, file your taxes, because the government or the IRS will work with you if you owe them money. But if you don't file the actual document, it's a lot more penalties and interest in comparison to if you filed and you just didn't pay them. So keep that in mind. If you're not able to file by the due date for whatever reason, you can always file an extension. The extension gives you up to 6 months to file. So that will put you in October 15th of that year. Make sure that you filed by then. I mean, that's plenty of time to get whatever you need to worked out. But I think that's about it. So those are for the dates, right? Things. As an investor, security. There is a lot of scams in this area, and I see it constantly. If something sounds too good to be true, it is. I saw a post the other day where someone said, hey, come with me and I'll show you how to make 20 Bitcoin a day. And I'm over here like, do you know how much 20 Bitcoin is? What? And so again, if something sounds too good to be true, it is. You know, we see the whole thing with the whole BitConnect that went down. USI Tech, I don't even know what's going on with that, because I heard they are trying to legitimize themselves. But as of right now, a whole bunch of people either lost their money or don't have access to their money. And this is something that I cringe for people that are coming into this space and really want to get involved and really start investing. It scares me because let's just be real. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to lose a lot of money. They're not in the know. They don't know who these companies are. They're just following what everyone else is doing. And then that's it. I had a guy in December call me up and he said, I want to cash out $30,000 of my retirement and I want to invest. And I was like, okay, at this point I was like, no, don't do it. But then he told me BitConnect. He was going to put the money in BitConnect. And I said, no. Please do your research. That's exactly what I told him. I said, I'm not going to tell you yes or no, because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anything about these companies besides what I see and what I hear. So I'm hesitant. And when you're talking about cashing out $30,000 of your retirement funds to invest, don't do it. So don't do it in the sense that really think about it before you make that decision.
Do what you want, but don't do it.
So I told him, I said, look, think about it, do a little bit more research, and just think about this. If you lose $30,000 a week from now, are you going to be okay? Are you going to be fine with that? And he ended up emailing me and saying, thank you for our conversation. You made me think about it. And I think a week later, BitConnect went down. So I hope he didn't throw his money in there. But we hear it all the time, but it's true. Don't invest money that you're not willing to lose, because depending on what you're investing in, there's a chance it could go, but also at the same time, and this is where that caveat comes in, right? I have a lot of clients who, let's be real, they put in 20,000, they put in $40,000. They bought Bitcoin, they bought Ethereum, and at the height of the market, they cashed out. And so they made their money back and then a lot more, which now we're dealing with the tax consequences, right? But yeah, but
That's
again, you don't have that.
10x your money is a much better problem to have to worry about than the tax consequences, I think.
That is true. But we don't have a crystal ball, and you just don't know. And you know, we can guess. Like right now, everyone's guessing third quarter the market's going to start going up, and you know, we have people that are in the market now and they're scared because, oh my God, this thing is going down. I mean, even my portfolio, I've invested about, I want to say about a total of $1,500 to $2,000. And at the height of the market, my portfolio was almost $13,000. I took a look at it yesterday and I was like, oh, wow, look at what number we're at. Oh my God. So it was kind of scary, right? But also at the same time, I'm invested in the space. I'm invested because I believe in what we have going on, and going to the different conferences and being involved and meeting other people from everywhere. I'm talking about from even other countries. This is it. So you just got to know, or you just got to know, no one can know, right? But you just have to be smart about your investments, and you have to be willing to lose the money if you do invest. That's the most important thing. That's my personal opinion, the most important thing.
Yeah, and it's so risky, right? So, you know, a lot of prices in the crypto space is based off of speculation.
Exactly.
Because things, they haven't developed hardcore products and services yet. It's really a white paper community, like those different types of things that people are investing in, hoping that this will be the company that's going to be the Amazon or Facebook or Google of the blockchain generation. But yeah, I definitely agree with you there in terms of, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. I think that's, excellent advice. So, Rebecca, before we get out of here, just a couple things. First, I'm going to ask you, what's next for you in your
What's next for me? Well, so I'm wrapping up tax season right now. It's been more or less great. Like I said, I got my feet very wet in cryptocurrency calculations, network with a lot of different professionals that are also doing cryptocurrency calculations and tax returns. So I'm glad to have this experience behind me, and I'm glad I have confidence in myself now. Software has made it very easy for us to calculate the gains. It's a pain getting the information sometimes, but it's been cool for the most part. I have this experience behind me. Next move, I'm going to try to get in as many projects as I can. This is a space, like I said, I really enjoy it. I love meeting people. So I'll be at meetups, especially in the DC area, but I'll be going to meetups, cryptocurrency from all over. So that's definitely next. I want to grow my business. I really enjoy being self-employed. So hopefully this is going to lead to more clients so that I'm able to I could stay home instead of having to, do that 12-hour shift every day. But I really trying to grow my business. If I can get on any projects, like I want to grow my brand in this space. So if I'm able to get on any projects that need an accountant, need a CPA, or even just need someone to give direction and focus. I've been on advisory boards before. I'm definitely willing to jump all in. So the sky's the limit here. I'm telling you, I'm open to whatever opportunities come across, and yeah.
Yeah, that's why we love interviewing you, because you're at a stage that many of our customers are at, where you went from having full-time employment to having a little bit of a side hustle. Now you're fully self-employed.
Yes.
Trying to make that leap to just entrepreneur, where you're not trading your time for money nearly as much as you do now. And then hopefully one day, we'll have Rebecca Samuels Enterprises or something.
That would be nice.
Right? And I think a lot of people will resonate and relate to your story and the different things that you've gone through in life to get to this particular moment in time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess the last question that I have for you is, if you were, so you're talking to our audience, if there's one thing or one principle, just give me one, you don't have to give me more, one principle that has been guiding you from the time you were 14, 13 years old when you had your 14 when you had your first child to now, like what would be that one nugget or one piece of information that you will tell the audience in regards to living a fulfilled, happy life?
Be an advocate for yourself. I know a lot of people that say they're going to do something, but when it actually comes down to doing it, they fall very short on the efforts. If you intend to do something, whether you fail or succeed, do it. Believe in yourself, stay motivated, be an advocate for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And that's pretty much what my life was. No one was going to get my high school diploma. No one was going to go to work for me. And even though I did receive government assistance for a little while, again, I still had to maintain, the little money they were giving me in government assistance wasn't helping provide for myself and my daughter. So if I wanted to be more than my circumstances, if I wanted to rise up beyond my circumstances, I had to go out there and advocate for myself and put the work in and put the effort out. And, that's how I got through the CPA exam. That CPA exam was brutal. And I had to take one section 4 times. And after getting complete failure after failure after failure, you do start to question. You're like, am I supposed to do this? Am I really? But the simple fact that I stayed strong on what my goals were, and I just kept trying. And when I needed the help, I was the advocate to advocate for my help, regardless of if it was, hey, I'm a teen mom and I don't have anything for my child. Can you help me? Or, hey, I'm trying to finish the CPA exam, whatever. I was an advocate for myself, which is why I believe I succeeded. Resiliency has been the theme of my life. And I kind of like it not to be the theme anymore. I just want to be like, we can breathe now. All that work and now we're done. But unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, resiliency has been the theme of my life. So it's just something that I'm personally going to stay steadfast to as I continue on in my business, as I grow,
Wonderful. So there we go. So Rebecca says, be an advocate for yourself and also be resilient.
And put that work in.
Put in that work. Yeah, time to get to work. Early bird, get that worm. As Marlo Stanfield said on The Wire. Right? Yeah. For those who know me, always know I have a Wire reference in my interviews. So, Rebecca, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. So we've been on with Rebecca Samuels, or Rebecca Monique, as she goes in her personal life. Rebecca, how can people contact you or learn more about you?
Sure. Well, you could go to my business website. That's www.pythagus.com, Pythagus. My contact information is on there. It's tax season right now. I'd prefer emails so that I can get to it in between everything that I'm trying to do. Afterwards, my phone number is there as well. So after tax season, if anybody needs to give me a call, they can do so. I'm also in a lot of groups. Again, you'll see me in meetups when I have time to go to them. In the DC area, I'm physically there. So if anyone's in the DC area, you could come by, say hi. This is a space I love talking about, so we could chat about crypto literally almost all night long. And I intend to go down to the Digital Underground, the what is it called? Crypticon?
PowerCon, Block Unchained.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I intend on going down there. So if you will be going to Atlanta, expect to see me. I can't stay too long. I think I'm going to be coming in on Friday and leaving like first thing Sunday morning. But I will be there and I will be in attendance. And yeah, website. You could also send me a message on Facebook. Again, my Rebecca Monique, that's my personal page. The Rebecca Samuels is my business page. And I've had a lot of people also contact me on LinkedIn under Rebecca Samuels. I think CPA, EA, cryptocurrency tax accountant.
So Rebecca's everywhere. So that's basically what she's
everywhere.
So yeah, we've been here with Tax Bay, Rebecca Samuels. Yeah, and she mentioned the PowerCon conference coming up. So we have our first annual PowerCon Block Unchained conference coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, May 11th through 13th at the Omni Center, or excuse me, Omni CNN Center in downtown Atlanta. So we're looking to have thousands of people coming down to experience that conference, and we hope that you come as well. We'll have more information on the landing page here very shortly. And as soon as we have it, we'll definitely share with our audience base on that front. We're also trying to persuade Rebecca to teach a class in the Black Business School related to taxes, accounting, and especially crypto taxes, that type of thing.
I intend to. It's just really, it's the time. But trust me, once tax season has died down, I will be fully engaged in every other thing that comes my way.
Come April 17th, I'll be making that pitch again. A couple of days after the tax deadline. So thanks for everyone for watching. Once again, I'm Lawrence Watkins. I am the President and Chief Operating Officer of Boyce Watkins Enterprises in the Black Business School, here with Rebecca Samuels. Thanks so much for your time today. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.